Did you know that long before many of us were born, due to the events of September 11th, about 45 movies had to be edited, delayed, or even completely canceled? This is exactly what happened with Disney's movie Monsters, Inc., released just 60 days after the 9/11 attacks. In the film, there was a scene in which the government team was about to start a child decontamination procedure when something unexpected happened on site. So, as you can imagine, Disney felt that the scene would be heavily criticized and quickly associated with recent events. The only problem was that the film was already finished and nearly ready for release, and this scene had been created long before the attacks. Since it couldn't be removed from the film, the editing team changed the fire's yellow tones to green and transformed what you saw into the creation of a plasma barrier. Take a look at how the scenes turned out. This was Disney's way of not negatively impacting its audience with this scene while avoiding cutting any scenes from the movie. Today, we'll show you 11 movies that had to be modified because of 9/11, unfortunately. SpiderMan, 2002. Without a doubt, one of the movies most affected by the events of 9/11 was the marketing for the first Spider-Man movie, starring Tobey Maguire, which was scheduled to be released 8 months after the attack. Unlike Monsters, Inc., it wasn't finalized, but it had many scenes ready that needed to be completely cut or digitally altered. To give you an idea, a movie advertisement had already been released as a small preview of the film. In it, the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, living in New York, had stopped a bank robber's helicopter between the Twin Towers with his web, symbolizing a fly caught in a spider's web. Needless to say, the commercial was completely banned from television. Additionally, the reflection of the World Trade Center in Spider-Man's eyes on posters spread throughout the USA was removed. Moreover, a scene immediately following the famous Spider-Man kiss with Mary Jane, featuring an image of the towers on the horizon, was completely cut from the film. The Simpsons. One of the iconic episodes of The Simpsons is The City of New York vs. Homer, released in 1997, exactly 4 years before the attack. In it, Homer faces various mishaps when he visits the largest city in the USA. In one scene, his car is towed and piled with fines in front of the Twin Towers. Desperate for a bathroom, he enters one of the towers, but after climbing hundreds of floors, he finds the restroom closed with a sign, "Use the other tower." While it wasn't an offensive episode in any way, the mere reference to the Twin Towers, which no longer existed, was deemed inappropriate. As a result, the scene was cut for 5 years, only returning to air in 2006. The Incredibles, 2004. In the early versions of the movie The Incredibles, there was a scene where Mr. Incredible and the family were attacked in their home by the film's villain, Syndrome. It was similar to the final scene, but with some differences. In this scene, a gas leak caused indirectly by the villain's attack and a lit fireplace led to the destruction of the house and a fiery explosion. This sequence was considered evocative of the collapse of the World Trade Center and, as a result, was removed from the film, as it could have triggered negative thoughts in the audience, even though the movie was released 3 years after the event that marked U.S. history. Lilo and Stitch, 2002. In Lilo and Stitch, a 2002 movie released 9 months after the attack, there was a scene that originally depicted Stitch, Jumba, Pleakley, and Nani hijacking a Boeing 747 to chase Captain Gantu and rescue Lilo on the streets of Honolulu. Of course, this scene had been written and partially produced before the events of 9/11. In this scene, the plane would fly through the city, almost colliding with buildings and performing very risky maneuvers. Because it evoked distressing situations involving hijacked planes flying low within a city, the scene was modified. An alien spaceship was substituted for the plane, and they used it to chase Gantu through the mountains of Hawaii. Note, the original scene was included in the DVD special edition. Friends! Moving away from animations for a moment, let's talk about one of the most successful comedy series of all time, Friends. In the 3rd episode of Season 8, there was originally a subplot in which Chandler made a joke about a kind of explosive device at the airport, which resulted in Chandler and Monica being stuck at the airport as they were about to leave for their honeymoon. However, this subplot was removed because, well, you can probably guess why. Many people would find that joke distressing, and the show could have faced severe backlash. Meet the Parents. 2000. Just like in Friends, another famous Hollywood movie starring Ben Stiller and Robert De Niro had to be altered for the same reason Chandler got detained. The unique aspect here is that the movie had already been released a year prior, so its scenes were modified for future screenings and DVD rentals. Yes, that's right, Netflix didn't exist back then. We're talking about the movie Meet the Parents, released in 2000. Near the end of the film, Greg, the unwanted son-in-law, gets into an argument with an airline employee. In his interrogation by an airline employee, several expressions and words related to objects that go boom and that we can't talk about were removed because everything happened inside an airplane. It would have been highly suggestive for the audience who might have associated the film with the attacks. Men in Black 2, 2002. The sequel to Men in Black, a highly successful 1997 movie, was released 10 months after the tragic events involving the World Trade Center. One of the film's most important scenes had to be completely altered because it was originally set in the Twin Towers, which were still standing when production began, but had fallen by the time the movie was released. For this reason, the climax of the film, where Agent J and his partner Agent K face the formidable Serlina, a very wicked Kylothian, atop the most famous buildings in New York at that time, was changed to feature the Statue of Liberty, another iconic American symbol. Armageddon, 1998. Armageddon is a 1998 film released during a time when only movies about the end of the world and humanity's doom were successful, whether due to alien invasions or some other global catastrophe. In the case of the film directed by Michael Bay, a special effects genius, the end of humanity was looming thanks to a massive asteroid on a collision course with Earth, much like what happened to the dinosaurs. Some of the film's most striking scenes take place in New York City, devastated by a meteor shower, destroying city landmarks like the Grand Central Station and the Chrysler Building. After this meteor shower, an aerial scene captured the World Trade Center in flames. However, this image was removed from the version broadcast on open television after the attacks for reasons we certainly understand, don't we? The Bourne Identity, 2002. This case we're about to mention is quite different from all the others, and you'll understand why. In fact, the first film in the Bourne franchise, which would become a major success, was originally scheduled to be released 4 days before the attacks, on September 7, 2001, but it ended up hitting theaters early the following year. This happened primarily because the movie's producers requested director Doug Liman to reshoot several scenes in the film. The reason was that Bourne, in reality, was a government agent, and the real villain of the film was the American government, represented by the CIA. Yes, the US government, embodied by the CIA, was the organization to be fought in the film. The intention behind these additional scenes was to portray the American intelligence agency in a less negative light, because there was a fear that the public might label the CIA as anti-American, a term used to describe fear of the US government. This was something that no one wanted to do at the time because it could have provoked a conflict with the government itself, which was in a delicate situation due to the Twin Towers attack. Even after various conflicts, the new scenes were shot, but something happened. The direction of the film didn't please the director or the film's star, Matt Damon. For this reason, even after all that effort, the film was released exactly as it was before, or nearly unchanged. And it seems to have worked because the film was a massive success at the time, inspiring sequels, spin-offs, and even TV series. Forrest Gump, 1994. Forrest Gump from 1994 is considered by many to be one of the best movies ever made, if not the best. And you know what they say, if something is truly good, there's no reason to make changes. When it comes to movies, changes are often in the form of sequels, and sequels can ruin the original experience for many viewers. At the time of the September 11 attacks, there were intentions to create a sequel to Forrest Gump, which even had a title, Gump & Co. But after the attacks, the screenwriters and filmmakers, Eric Roth, Robert Zemeckis, and Tom Hanks, claimed that the narrative no longer felt appropriate and purposeful. As a result, the film was completely discontinued, and nothing has been heard about it since. In this case, a sequel might not have been a good idea after all. These are the 11 movies, cartoons, and TV series that underwent changes due to 9/11, as highlighted for you. We've also included 2 more videos that you're sure to enjoy, which are now appearing on your screen. Just choose the one that suits you best and click on it, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it.